In other crime news now, Icelandic names. And a 15-year-old Icelandic girl, Andy, has won the right to use the name given her by her mother after a court battle against the authorities. So she's escaped, presumably, the death penalty,
Yeah,
Andy.
you'd
I think that's what.
expect so, yeah.
I think the Icelandics go pretty hard on... basically, her name, Blair... Bjantka, will now be able to use her first name, which means light breeze, officially. And the reason this was a problem is that the country, Iceland, has very strict laws on names which must fit Icelandic grammar and pronunciation rules. Blair said after the ruling, "I'm glad that this is over. Now I expect I'll have to get some new identity papers. Finally, I'll have the name Blair in my passport." And, like Germany and Denmark, Iceland has extremely rigid limitations on how a baby can be named. Names like, Carolina and Krista, for example, are outlawed because the letter C is not part of Iceland's alphabet. Names are not allowed to be unisex either. And that's pretty strict,
yep.
Andy, especially now, around the world, people are choosing to name their children after fruits, vegetables and spare car parts.
Yeah, if this kind of legislation comes in America, it's going to completely destroy American football as a sport. Other names not allowed in Iceland for being insufficiently feminine include Snout Hammer, Pull My Finger and Missile Defence System. But her mother's name, John, name was Bjork. How feminine? That sounds like a vomiting dog. Or possibly slang. "Oh dear, Derek Jeter's gone down hard there. It looks like he's... cupped a nasty one right in his Bjorks."
There are apparently 1,853 officially approved female names on the Icelandic Naming Committee's list. Bjork said she had no idea that Blair was not on the list of accepted names. And as you mentioned, the panel rejected the name because they said it was too masculine for a girl. What? Hold on. The name Light Breeze is too masculine. I don't know if that argument would hold up in most international courts. And here's the crazy thing, Andy. They're missing the much bigger point here. Icelandic names are already ridiculous. What are they frightened of? There's nothing they can come up with that's more silly than names they've already got. Like Arinbjorn, Arminfanur, Bergilot, Ragnar and Flurg. Now, if you want everyone to have serious names, stop giving your children names that make them sound like IKEA shelving units. Oh, not nice to meet you, Dagstorp. Now what do? Are you a full-time wardrobe?
Also, reading this story, Sri Lanka must be laughing its head off, John. They have names like novels. There's also a little-known aspect to the Conservative manifesto at the last election. They'd seen a possible hung parliament coming and thought they might have to negotiate a coalition agreement. So in their manifesto were various laws that they never intended to pursue, but they used as bargaining chips, including passing a law so that only 4 names were allowed for all British children, and these names were Brian, Enid, Sopwith and Mork. Because George Osborne's a massive Mork and Mindy fan. Massive.
Yeah.
As his tattoos will testify. So it came to the negotiations, and the Conservatives dropped their names demand, and the Liberal Democrats gave up their commitment to not charging university tuition fees. Bit of give and take. So it worked out for everyone.
In New Zealand, someone was banned from naming their child Sex Fruit.
Really?
Yeah. Sex Fruit was... They have a committee as well.
There was
Sex Fruit not allowed.
There was an Adolf Hitler case as well, wasn't there? Some
Who would not want to name their child that?
Sadly, that name was not 100 years ago in Austria. Or Australia.
But anyway, here's a tip, Iceland. Spend a little bit less time worrying about what people call their children, and a little bit more time stopping your entire banking sector collapsing like a watermelon in a nuclear test zone.